Lady Agnes is a politician's wife, so she has to be seen to be doing the right thing and behaving in the right way and dressing in the right way and being there for her husband. You know, this is 1936. But they're also deeply in love when we meet them, and they've been living in Washington. Because they are childless at the first episode, she sort of takes on this project in place of a baby, I think, really. This huge house and sort of getting a staff together, and that's how the story begins. But she's absolutely lovely, and she sort of gets in over her head fairly quickly.
I don't think there were any extraordinary revelations. The ones, probably the most interesting ones, are the ones that come courtesy of the props department. You know, where you kind of go, oh, really, is that how a cigarette box works? Oh, God, I never knew that. Oh, right, I see. And they go in like that. Oh, those are the kind of things that, you know, those kind of things I learned. You may have had a much more profound experience, I don't know, but mostly it was kind of how, you know, how to hold tumblers of whiskey properly and things like that. You know, at the end of the day, they are just sort of human beings, you know. And you know, the things that drive them are the same as anyone else. And I think that's the kind of thing you focus on as an actor. The original was kind of always there with us, but I think it was sort of, you know, it was sort of more sort of in the background. And I remember sort of on one or two occasions suddenly sort of, you know, standing in the entrance hall and kind of thinking, oh yes, my God, of course, this must be exactly what the entrance hall looked like in the original, because we're standing in the same building. But, you know, there wasn't that kind of direct, continual reference to the original, not least in my mind, but I'm sure for Jean and Eileen it would have been much more prominent, yeah.
Jean was referring to the original Upstairs, Downstairs, I think because she's sort of closer to it in a way because obviously she was in it.
I mean, the first time I think she walked onto the downstairs set, into the kitchen, you know, she had this kind of sort of extraordinary sort of Proustian moment, you know, of 35 years after she'd walked out of that house, she was walking back into it. And I think it was, you know, it was a kind of very sort of highly charged emotional moment for her.
You're not allowed to look it in the eye,
which
is difficult when you're having a scene with it.
No sudden movement. It was actually, in all fairness to the monkey, it was incredibly professional. And there was a moment, without kind of going into too much detail, in the third episode, I think, where Eileen and I are having breakfast and talking about Lotta and what needs to be done. And there was a sort of scheduling problem when they said, oh, we can't have the monkey. And Eileen and I were quite insistent about having the monkey there. And we sort of essentially just said, you're going to have to trust us on this one. And the opening shot of the scene is a kind of quite a sort of wide two-shot, looking down the table with Eileen on one side, me on the other, having this discussion. In the middle of the shot, sitting on the table, eating some kind of desiccated fruit, is the monkey. And it's hard to describe, but it gives so much information about how the relationship between these two people have changed, how the atmosphere in the house has changed, how the passage of time has clearly taken place, the contrast between our attitudes towards this animal versus our attitudes, you know, 2 hours earlier in the story, or however many months that would be. And it looks cute.
One of the lovely things was that we filmed in story order, mostly, didn't we? And so our first scenes in there were in a sort of dilapidated house in the state that you see it in the story. And so we had the reveal, like you do in the show, which was lovely.
Yeah, that's true, that was.
It was really
to
nice.
walk onto the set after the art department had turned it from kind of Miss Havisham, you know, degradation into that beautiful interior, that was amazing, amazing. And quite useful, actually, if nothing else.
It is extraordinary. It's really wonderful to be able to, on a set, to be able to walk in and walk up the stairs and into another room.
Yes,
it's
yes,
amazing,
yes, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and rather than waiting for 2 weeks and then walking.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah, that's absolutely true.